Hello viewers and welcome back to another episode of Planet Kingston's Second Nature, where I'll be doing my very first Pokémon video starring the evolutions of Cosmog and Deino. Let's start with Cosmog. Cosmog is a Psychic-type legendary Pokémon introduced in Generation 7, and its evolution is kind of wiki-whack. It evolves into Cosmo, the Protostar Pokémon, and which then either evolves into Solgaleo, the Sun Pokémon, or Lunala, the Moon Pokémon. It's really weird. Cosmog is very light and larger than its evolved form, while Cosmo weighs 2,000 something pounds. That's practically the weight of some sort of car, and yet Ash can lift it. And Lunala and Solgaleo are my favorites out of the evolution chains. Let's talk about Cosmo a bit more. Cosmo, the Protostar Pokémon, a psychic type, and the evolved form of Cosmog. As it absorbs light, it becomes shinier and heavier. Its golden shell is surprisingly solid, and it's very small. You could fit it in your hand, but if you tried to lift it, your hands would be and you couldn't lift them back up unless Cosmo, you lifted itself out of your hands. And Solgaleo, the final evolution with Solgaleo doesn't really make sense, Solgaleo looks like a giant space lion, and looks nothing like Cosmog or Moa, except for a few markings on its face. But Lunala actually makes sense because it has golden wings. Lunala, the Moon Pokémon, a psychic and ghost type, and the evolved form of Cosmo. It's also weird because Solgaleo is a psychic and steel type, but Lunala is a psychic and ghost type. Let's start with Deino. Deino, the irate Pokémon, a dragon and dark type. Lacking sight, it is unaware of its surroundings. It attacks anything that moves. It evolves into Zweilous. It's Zweilous, the hostile Pokémon, a dark and dragon type, and the evolved form of Deino. Its two heads do not get along. If one head tries to eat more than the other. When it has eaten up all the food in its territory, it moves on. But its final evolution, Hydreigon, doesn't make sense. Well, Hydreigon, the brutal Pokémon, a dragon and dark type, and the final evolved form of Deino. Hydreigon was said to destroy villages. The heads on its arms do not have no brains. They all attack at once. That's the thing. Hydreigon has 3 heads, but all of them can see, and they fly. And Zweilous and Deino walk on the ground. So that's kind of willy-nilly. But my favorites out of these Pokemon are their final evolved forms: Lunala, Solgaleo, and Hydreigon. My manager also likes Solgaleo the best because it looks like a giant space lion. Anyway, that wraps up of our first Pokemon video. I hope you like, share, subscribe. So which Pokemon should I talk about next? Let me know in the comments and stay tuned.